Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the Opline podcast, or I call it the Opcast. We have the privilege today to be joined by Angie Condon, and we'll let her introduce herself in a minute. For those that may not be familiar with Opline, Opline is a tool, it's a resource that provided free for veterans, military spouses, and student veterans to help them align their skills to the job market. A veteran or military spouse or student veteran enters in their rank, their MOS, or years of service. It'll show them how they align their skills to the job market, and hopefully a great and free resource for those veterans and for companies that are interested in hiring veterans, a great tool as well. But we love to bring our partners on to this show and have them talk about the programs and what they're doing in the veteran space. And that is why we have Angie here today. So Angie, welcome to the show and let us know a little bit what you're doing these days.
Hi, Beau. Thank you very much for the welcome, and thank you for including us here at the Opline podcast. I'm doing great. I work for Western Governors University and just got back from a conference in the Pacific. It's called LandPAC. It's through AUSA, and we participate in a lot of the conferences that are industry related, that are specifically targeted for military veterans and active duty. And when I say we, it's my team, and we're the military relations team for Western Governors University.
Got it. No, that's great. And I know y'all are active and you're on the road a lot, getting the word out about your programs. And we'll dig into the programs a minute more, but I'm curious always about everyone's journey, whether you're a veteran, military spouse, civilian, of how you got there. I mean, what was your work history to end up at a university and working with the military program? I'm always curious how you found and kind of got to a role like that over time.
Okay, well, great. I actually worked in industry. I retired from industry in 2016, so coming up on 10 years. And I worked for a Fortune 50 insurance company. I started out as a claim adjuster, went into human resources, and worked in human resources for probably about 13 years. I left the actual corporate side of the company and opened up my own insurance agency as a contractor agent and ended up retiring early. The decision was made because I became a single parent. I had lost my husband, and it took me about 3 years to make that decision to change my because I wanted to spend time with my child, who was 13 years old at the time. I wanted to make sure that I was there for my child, and ended up being able to participate in a couple of skill bridge programs through JBLM because I was a veteran spouse. One of them was Onward to Opportunity. The second one was Hiring Our Heroes. And after those two programs, was contacted by the manager at the JBLM office for O2O, and asked if I might be interested in helping them stand up the Navy office that they were going to be opening. And I interviewed for the position, got the position. I worked for O2O for about 3.5 years. And while there, I got my MBA at WGU, and I had never planned to ever leave Syracuse or O2O because I learned how much I loved working with the military, and that it was like coming home when I was going through the program and helping the service members transition from active duty to the civilian workforce. It felt like coming home because people understood me. I understood them. It was a community that I grew up in. I grew up as a military brat. I always advocated for the military, but I never really worked within the military space or directly with the military. And it was like coming home. I did end up getting my MBA with with WGU, and through that, they had an opening, and so I interviewed for that. I got the opening here in the Pacific Northwest for WGU, which is Western Governors University, as a strategic partnership manager. which is what I'm doing now.
Love it. That's a great story, and I think it's interesting too. I mean, you were obviously the beneficiary of as a military spouse of some of the programs, the Skill Bridge like programs out there, and were able to use that, and then, got hooked in some ways about supporting the military community. Being someone that received the support to now turning it around and being the person that's helping others on the backside of it and helping them figure out, their way ahead, their path to finding employment and using probably the benefits that they can tap into. So I love to kind of see that come full circle from being on the person that was going through their own transition. Obviously, some challenges, and making some career decisions, but all led to, it all led to where you are now. So it's great to see that story and how it all kind of came to fruition, and then you're able to be in a place where you can now give back, to those students and to the military community, which I love to see. It's great.
It is giving back, and I really enjoy helping the military spouses. They have a piece of my heart, so I do a lot of work with military spouses. We connected with the MSEP program and are a partner with the Military Spouse Employment Partnership. We have a partnership that we are launching with Madigan Army Hospital. We just put together a certificate program. When I say we, Western Governors University created a certificate program for memory and dementia care with Madigan Army Hospital, and that's going to be launching this summer.
That's awesome. And for those that may not be familiar with Western Governors University, I am, just because I've been in this space for a while and I get to see y'all at a lot of the events we go to. I mean, what should people know about Western Governors University, and what makes it different? What makes it special? What's it all about?
We're non-traditional. What is great about Western Governors University is the individual is managing their own time. It is self-paced. We were created by the Western Governors Association 30 years ago to bring people to the workforce and advance through the workforce by focusing on high-demand careers, high-demand industries. And those industries include information technology, business, education, K-12 education, and health professions. So people can choose one of those 4 areas to major in. We provide bachelor's and master's degrees. We are institutionally accredited, which used to be called regionally accredited. It's now formally called institutional accreditation. If someone comes to school at WGU for their bachelor's and their master's, they can go to another school, be accepted for their graduate program because of that accreditation. There's a lot of people that will go through a college and then find they can't go to another place to get a graduate degree because their accreditation doesn't fit, or it may not be the right accreditation, or it may not even be an accredited program.
Got it. And it sounds like, I mean, based on the fact that you do progress at your own path and you own your own educational timeline, it would seem that obviously that would make sense for a lot of veterans that may be deployed, or it's tough for a veteran a lot of time, or especially active duty service members, to go to full-time classes. They have a 9-to-5 job. They're going to be overseas sometimes. What kind of population of veterans do you have at WGU? What kind of numbers do you have? And I think it obviously kind of would naturally align with the military lifestyle. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely. Our programs align very well with the military lifestyle, especially for active duty. We've got the majority of our military affiliated students are going to be about 40-ish% veterans, 20+%, 25% active duty, and then the remainder being dependents. What's so great is if someone's got internet, they're going to be able to go through the WGU programs. We are completely online. Our programs are competency-based. Our programs were created for the working adult and the underserved. So the people that couldn't go to college and went straight to work, they now have a pathway to get their college degree in order to advance in their current field or change fields. One of the things that they're able to do is if they're deployed and they've got internet access, they can work on their degree program. We have a couple folks that I've personally met that got their degrees while deployed. And I'll just give you an example of what our term looks like. We have a 6-month term, and it is a flat rate term. Someone that's seeking a bachelor's degree is going to have about 4 classes for their term. So they're going to have a full 6 months to take those courses. However, if they have the competency and can meet the competency, and they'll take the exam or they'll write their papers and then they'll move on to the next class. If they finish all those classes for that term by, let's say, month 3, they still have 3 months left of their term. Because we're flat rate, their program mentor or faculty mentor will open up more classes at no additional cost. So this is also economically feasible for someone that's trying to get through school, trying to save some money. We're not as expensive as the bricks and mortars. They can get through. And I mentioned a faculty mentor. That's kind of like the student advisor. They're with that student from day one until graduation. I hear frequently from our grads that their top reason, or their support from their mentor, was one of the top reasons that they were able to complete school. That person helped them get through. They're the cheerleader, they're the navigator. They help that student achieve their degree.
It's great, and it's I love to hear that kind of the flexibility too of the program, because I think if certainly a few years ago there were a lot of negative stories about colleges and some online colleges that were veterans were using all their benefits and not getting much on the back end of it. But it does sound like with WGU, it's very affordable, very flexible, and obviously it's something that can be utilized or is recognized by the larger academic world. I think there was some concerns about that for a while, about some of the colleges that were out there and veterans being taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. My husband, I remarried, and my current husband is a retired Army NCO who is a professor at the University of Washington. And when I was looking at schools and trying to determine where I was going to get my MBA, I was referred by a chancellor at a local college here in Washington to consider WGU. I asked my husband, I said, all of this information about WGU, it just seems too good to be true. Is this school legit? Because I'm really struggling here. And he said, they're a really good school. Our programs are great. He works in health information management, and WGU has a bachelor's in HIM. And he said WGU is really competitive and has a great model and respected in the HIM world. People that are seeking jobs in HIM, it's harder for them to get a job in that exact field unless they go to an accredited school, which WGU is. They have to be accredited in that health information management world.
Got it. No, that's great. I mean, obviously, it's a great resource for the veterans and something that is much needed out there for them. And again, to get that accreditation is a great opportunity at a good, affordable price and on their schedule. I think which is
Right.
also super important for the veterans. I mean, what would what do you want those veterans out there, whether they're active duty or they're already post active duty service, or military spouses, what would you want, them to know about WGU that they may not know?
Majority of our active duty and our veteran population will enter into the information technology programs. And the biggest secret about that, which isn't so much a secret because it's word of mouth, those folks that are working in the field, they're sharing it with each other. And we usually hear, my buddies are all going through WGU for their cyber degree. And so here I am. Or they're going through WGU for network engineering or computer science. That program has over 50% of our active duty and veteran population are enrolled in that program. And one of the reasons is because we embed the industry certifications into the programs. By embedding, that means that it's part of their coursework. Their exams are covered and paid for by WGU instead of them having to pay for that separately. A lot of schools, you're going to get the education, but you have to pay for your own certification. Cyber, for instance, I think is about 14 industry certs. Other programs can be anywhere from 8 certifications to 10 or 12. So that's pretty valuable in and of itself.
That's awesome. I mean, it's all packaged up like that, and really just again, it's just the bang for the buck is pretty amazing when you think about WGU. And what's the best way to learn more if you are looking to go back and further your education? Just online? Is it? I feel like y'all are kind of everywhere now. If you're in the veteran space, you go to an event. Usually, there's a WGU booth there. You can find them at that. But I mean, what's the best way to engage, with the WGU's team in general?
For the military affiliated, just go to wgu.edu/military. And that's going to bring you to our military landing page and all the resources available. We've got a team that is specifically designed to help with the military benefits, such as the tuition assistance or the different chapters for the GI Bill. So they're available to specifically focus on that. We've got another team that helps those veterans that have a need for further assistance, and getting additional support, where that team will work with the VA and getting some support for those veterans that have that need.
That's awesome, man. It's obviously not just about the education. It's more about the whole veteran. If any services you need, you have resources at WGU to be able to provide that veteran, that military spouse with connections to the VA, obviously working with their benefits. And I know my favorite topic for employment, you have some great resources as well. What kind of a feedback do you get from the graduates as far as their, ability to get jobs? And is there any kind of good data on that, on the success of the graduates from WGU and how they find employment?
Okay, well, I don't have the numbers offhand right away, but we have a high number of graduates that are able to attain jobs, and we have the feedback that we get from them is really strong. About 90% of employers who send their employees to WGU, or employers that are hiring grads, love the employees that they have that have either attended WGU or went to WGU while employed with that employer. As far as the support with regard to getting jobs, we have an internal department called Career and Professional Development, and they host webinars. They host career fairs online through a program called Handshake. They partner with different employers in hosting Cyber Month program. They will host all of these opportunities where the students can meet the employers directly. And I encourage the student to participate and get enrolled in the alumni program so they can stay connected with CPD, and to start participating with CPD, or Career and Professional Development, I would say about a year out from graduation. Start attending those webinars and those series so that they can connect directly with the employers.
That's great. I mean, again, I love to hear it's kind of a full life cycle of support, right? I mean, it's not only, I mean, they'll help you get signed up for classes. They'll help you deal with the VA and even things beyond just education. They have employment resources for you, during your time as a student and post time as a student, as an alumnus of the school. You can still tap into those
Right.
resources, which is great,
Yeah.
which is great.
And I recommend that when the student comes on board, that they make their appointment with their program mentor, the faculty mentor, because that person's going to be by their side the whole way. They'll help them develop their coursework paths. And then after that, each time that they start a course, that they schedule a time to meet with their course instructor, 15 minutes. That course instructor will go over any questions that they might have, give them some tips on, what they may want to focus on, things that they may be able to not spend so much time on. That course instructor is a resource as well. Although everything is asynchronous, sometimes the course instructors will have webinars. So I definitely recommend at the beginning, meet with the program mentor. Our focus at WGU is we're student centric. When we started the military relations group here at WGU, that was about 5 years ago, Rear Admiral retired Jeff Harley came on board as our director. He's Dr. Jeff Harley, and his vision was to make sure that we had services and support for our military affiliated students from what he called cradle to grave. So from beginning to completion.
It's awesome to see and to hear about a school, a university that really puts their money where their mouth is for working the whole life cycle of the student veteran, what, before, during, after, obviously. And you're a great example and testament. You've been through it. You're a student, and now you're actually an employee of the university. So nothing can speak more highly of, how effective it is if someone that loved it so much they ended up working for them. So it's pretty
Yeah.
sweet to see that, right?
I would say that the reason I looked at them seriously for employment is because of my experience as a student. One of the best things, this is another secret that I want to share with students, is once you graduate from WGU, you can have ongoing, just make sure you sign up for the Alumni Association. There are the ongoing LinkedIn learning for free through WGU as an alumni, ongoing professional development courses that you can sign up for that are free through the various platforms that we might have. So that's a good thing for someone who is invested in lifelong learning and continuous development of themselves.
Love it. It's great to hear all the resources out there that come. The package, the WGU package, is more than most, and one that again keeps on giving as an alumni too, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Well, we're kind of coming close to time here, but as we get ready to finish up, any last words or thoughts that you want to leave with the audience about WGU? I think you've shared so much about what you do, what you're doing. I mean, what's the future? Maybe anything people should know about the future going forward, or anything you want to share as we kind of close things up?
I really think that people should seriously consider WGU if they're working and they've got a family that they're managing. A lot of our military spouses um, find WGU to be really flexible. One of the things that I really think that our service members, our active duty or activated service members need to be aware of is they can pause their program if they're deployed. They just need to make sure they get their orders, or if they can't submit orders, something that proves that they're being deployed or having to do some work, and we can pause their program for them.
So that's awesome. Well, it's my biggest takeaway is from speaking with you is the flexibility of the program, right? Brick and mortar institution, right? You're going on a semester and it's from this date to that date, and that's what it is, right? If you can't beat that, then that's what you got. But with WGU, obviously the flexibility there, the support that's there for the veterans, the appreciation for the non-traditional student and being and meeting them where they are is huge. So it's
Absolutely.
exciting to hear, or to know that it's out there and there to support our veterans and military spouses, because they have non-traditional lifestyles. They need a non-traditional, education opportunity as well, right?
Absolutely. I really feel like WGU meets them where they're at.
Love it. On that, we will finish it up. But thanks, Angie, for the time today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your passion for this. Always great seeing you out there representing WGU, and happy that Opline can work with you guys. Look forward to continuing that relationship moving forward. But thanks again for the time today, Angie. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.